Ripple and XRP are at the heart of innovation and change for financial institutions here in the United States. We have a brand new clip here. The next 5 years is going to see more change in the industry than the last 50. We also have some new updates here. S&P Dow Jones indices mentioning Ripple and XRP. What is all this about? I'm going to tell you. Christine Lagarde also says Bitcoin has no intrinsic value and you shouldn't really be in it. I got to play this clip. Also, RLUSD goes live. Brazil Real transactions are live on the XRP ledger. What does all this mean? I have some other Ripple and XRP news towards the end. Price discovery, kind of where we think price will go for XRP here over the next few months. Let's play this.
If you're an FA or you're a client, how do you manage this interim period, acknowledging that you're building, the final product? Do you give a common experience? How do you deal with that? And by the way, I think there's a lot of risk between the old and the new. One's not settling very fast. The other one is. How do you bring this weird interim period together for your clients?
Yeah. And it's such a great question, Chris. And we could probably spend an entire hour just debating this question, right? My personal point of view on this is that you can't go slow. Right? If we're going to really do this, we have to do this quickly.
Okay.
And that means that there is going to be an overwhelming mandate to get these wallet-based systems into place as quickly as possible, that there is going to be continued regulatory and legislative pressures to define all the rules around how to operate in these spaces. And there is going to be surging demand from new entrants that is going to pressure incumbents to probably transition their business models a lot faster than they would have ever anticipated. We like to say that we think that the next 5 years is going to see more change in the industry than you have seen in the last 50. And that's a scary process and it's a scary prospect. But I think that it's going to be a very exciting journey. And it's for exactly the reason you say. You can't go slow. You can't have this split system where some things are moving on a completely different time frame and other things are moving instantly, because it creates all of these potentials for there to be problems. So I think that the pressure is going to be to move to the more efficient set of rails as fast as possible.
Move to the new set of rails as fast as possible. This is the Chief Innovation Officer at Franklin Templeton, 1.7 trillion assets under management. If that's the way institutions are thinking, ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a hell of a ride. Here is S&P Dow Jones Crypto Market Index. As you can see, we have ETH, XRP, BNB, Tron, Slot, this bunch of assets. Like, what does all this mean? The screenshot shows the S&P Dow Jones indices, S&P cryptocurrency broad digital market index as September 30th, 2025, which tracks 304 digital assets, including XRP, and provides statistics on market capitalization and index weightings. XRP is listed as one of the top 10 crypto constitutes by index weight alongside Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others. The S&P Cryptocurrency Broad Digital Market Index is designed to offer broad exposure to cryptocurrency market covering digital assets traded on recognized exchanges. Indices like this are used by institutions for benchmarking the performance of crypto portfolios, designing investment products, bringing transparency to digital asset sector. XRP's inclusion as a top consistent means it's recognized among the largest, most liquid, widely traded cryptocurrencies. Excuse me, my eyes were just flickering there. Fast forward to October 2025, Ripple is now recognized as one of the most active acquirers of the year following the acquisition of Rail. And here is talking about Ripple continued as one of the most active acquirers this quarter, acquiring business-to-business stablecoin specialist Rail. They spent $200 million acquiring Rail. Rail represents 10% of global business-to-business stablecoin payments. So if Ripple looks to buy another company that is in the same business-to-business stablecoin payments, maybe they pick up another 5 or 10%, Ripple could control, 20%, 25% of the globe's business-to-business stablecoin payments, and that's where this is heading. All right, let's listen to Christine Lagarde here. Just tell us how you feel about Bitcoin.
Hi, I'm Jordi, and I study economics. And I want to get back on your remarks about cryptocurrency. You mentioned that you think that it has no intrinsic value, which I personally do not agree.
So what is the value of it?
I think especially in current environments we're living now with inflation.
How much is inflation now?
And now it's quite good, but in the COVID times,
Thank you.
just
to say for the people who don't know.
If you don't know, Christine Lagarde is in charge of the European Central Bank. It was her job and her team to bring down inflation in the EU after the whole pandemic happened. We saw inflation drop here in the United States, but it's recent. Over the last maybe 6 to 12 months, it started to go up a lot again, and we're trying to deal with that.
So I think 2%, a little bit more in the
2.2 latest reading in August. A bit more in the Netherlands.
In the Netherlands, it's 3.3 and going up. So you're going to say that you think Bitcoin is a better instrument. How many do you have, Bitcoins?
Well, I'm not going to give you a number, but it's more than 90% of my portfolio. So,
okay. So the question is?
So can Bitcoin be like a digital form of gold?
Okay.
No.
That's the final answer, right?
Yeah.
Shall we leave it?
You know, I hesitate to say that, but I say it because I have no fear. Because I know that the social media tonight and tomorrow is going to hit me like crazy. Because that's the community that they form, and that's the belief that they have, and that's the confidence that they generate amongst themselves. But I still am of the view that there is no intrinsic value and there is no underlying value to it, which doesn't mean to say that there is no hype created as a result that some can associate with a value, meaning a price, which then moves up and down depending on what happens, who is instrumenting.
Bitcoin's price is all based on hype. It's not based on the technology being adopted and used globally. Ask any financial institution, they'll tell you we're not using Bitcoin for payments or treasury operations or any of it. They are buying it, hopefully that the price goes up, but eventually, if anything comes out, if the Satoshi wallet unlocks and Bitcoin starts moving, Bitcoin will crash, right? If the treasury market dumps or something happens to Tether, Bitcoin will crash. Like, there are so many things that you have to worry about with Bitcoin. Yes, there's the people that believe it'll go to a million or 10 million, these types of things, but I would rather invest in an asset that financial institutions are interested in using for settlement, because that is where the true value will lie. Not on speculation, not about hype, but on real world use cases. And Christine Lagarde tells it how it is. Love that. All right, Brazilian real is live on the XRP ledger. First transactions are today. Check this out. Here is XRP scan, and you can see the real transactions right here, Brazilian real. This is pretty cool. And then the Brazilian real has officially gone live as tokenized asset on the XRP ledger, marking a significant milestone for blockchain integration in traditional finance systems and enabling efficient, compliant, and fast digital transactions for both institutional and soon retail users. The first transaction of the Brazilian real on the XRP ledger have already taken place, facilitated in the launch of the Brazilian real stablecoin by Brasa Bank, a major Brazilian financial institution. So the launch is part of a phased rollout anticipated to cover 30% of Brazilian stablecoin market by the end of 2026. Love to see that. There's also some new features being added to the XRP ledger: multi-purpose token, permission DEX, and native protocol lending. Here is Jazzy Cooper.
XRPL already has payments capabilities, which is obviously essential for cross-border payments. But as you look to really replicate traditional finance or bring a lot more of these use cases onto the blockchain, the need for credit origination is clear. The way we're doing this on XRPL is a little bit different than what you see in other DeFi ecosystems.
All right, that was fun. And then where is XRP's prices? Where's it heading? Tony Edward from Thinking Crypto had this gentleman on, Caleb Franzen. He's the founder of Cubic Analytics, and here is his price predictions for XRP.
Look, it's not me, right? I'm not the one coming up with these price targets. It's the chart itself. Price is price. It's the only thing that's the actual truth in the market. So again, same methodologies that we've been talking about. 161.8% targets gets us to $4.40. The 261.8 gets us to $6. Then if we look at the major consolidation from the Q1 highs to the Q1 lows, we're now talking about $5.40 and $11.55. So this, for me, right here, right now, those are the price targets that you have to be aware of if you're holding and investing in XRP, because I think so long as we stay above $2.68, these price targets are where we're headed. If we fall below 268, you can get stopped out, you can reduce some of your exposure, you can slow down your DCA, whatever the case is. You can have a thesis, an upside bias, we're going to get here, but you have to have an invalidation criteria. It's okay to be wrong. It's just not.
All right. And then what is going to happen at Ripple Swell? What announcements are going to happen in November? Everybody is going to be looking towards Ripple Swell to see how this is all going to unfold and play out. Stay tuned. I'll bring you all the updates that I can over the next few months with Ripple and XRP. If you want to support my team and the channel, there's a way to do that now. We just created the XRP, Crypto Sensei's XRP Dojo. You're going to get access to my content ad-free, 1 video a day. You're going to get access to real-time research that I'm doing posted in that chat, stuff that people don't normally get to see, as well as a ton of XRP news. And we can get together, hang out, and chat about XRP. It's 25 bucks a month. You support me and my entire team that is working so hard behind the scenes. I know a lot of you are looking for ways to do this. There's going to be a link in the description to join. I hope to see you in there. Aloha.